Welcome, geeks and gamers alike, to Bored Geeks Board Games podcast. From MTG to D&D, this is your place to listen in for all things tabletop. My name is Ryan.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Logan, and this is going to be the first episode of the soon-to-be #1 board game podcast, where you got some board geeks getting together to talk about board games.
Today we're going to be talking about how we each got into the tabletop fandom, what got us to stay, generally let all of you get to know all of us.
All right, so how did we all get into board gaming?
Who wants to go first?
Mine's really simple. So I started playing chess with my grandpa. That was, he taught me that. And then, your basic board games, so Risk, Uno, Phase 10 with, my mom and the rest of my family. And then from there, what's it called? Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the TCG route, and then now I play Magic.
That happens. Most of us all. Mine's semi-similar. Started with family. I have come from a family of 6. I'm a triplet with a younger sibling.
Right.
Anytime we had friends over, I say back in the day, but I'm not that old. But still, video games were usually max 4 players.
So it's hard to get everybody in.
And then even if there were more, you'd have to have the controllers and everything. But board games, that was just the way to go. They had a much higher player cap. We ended up doing regular game nights with my family. It was every Friday night we'd have pizza, watch a movie, and then play a board game after, and it was the communal family time. Board game, I think the first board game I really played was probably Clue. Still one of my favorites. I'm undefeated amongst my core family. I write down way too much information. But yeah, that's what got me started into it, just being able to have so many people do the shared activity. Now there are a lot of couch co-op games out there, but still you have to have the game, have the controllers.
Right, so you have to have all the material or the system stuff. Yeah.
And board games, it's just you have the game and then everyone can just sit down and play it.
I don't know. I want to say mine started very traditional. Family's going to have games like Sorry, Trouble.
Right.
Stuff like that. But I really liked Uno for some reason. I don't know why. I think it was just the design of the cards I really, really liked. And when I found that Uno had different versions, different prints, stuff like that, I would go to yard sales looking for any variation of a Hasbro game, to be honest. And I found some really cool older 60s, 70s. I found one of my favorite Uno packs is a 60s in the box Uno I got from a yard sale for $5.
Oh, that's...
And it has the instruction manual still. And when you open the instruction manual, it has a nuclear family take on a photo of who would be playing Uno. And it is very dated, but it is funny to show. It's a
time capsule.
It's a time capsule of sorts, but it was also a thing to show at parties.
Right.
Oh, look at this thing. And then they pull out the instruction manual. It's that's not how it's done anymore.
Yeah.
So I did that a lot. And then through that, I found more board games. There was board games made on some of my favorite video games I played at the time, like XCOM. So that got me further into that rabbit hole. And then I kind of went down TCGs and stuff like that. Started playing Magic. Just all kinds of stuff like that where I can I'm more of the collector aspect. And I kind of like games that go longer. I like games that are maybe multiple sessions or long hour periods. It's just engaging.
Like you're dedicating an afternoon, or a whole night to it kind of thing. Yeah.
I definitely love strategy games, the longer ones too, but I'm definitely more of a party game person. Sit down with anywhere from 5 to 200 people
and just
something like
do that.
And just all play a group game together.
See,
I have a question for you on that topic. What do you define as a party game? Because I find that hard to define sometimes.
I think generally my broadest definition is over 8 players.
Okay, so yours is quantity.
Yeah, I would classify anything over 8 players could be considered a party game. Just because any sort of social gathering, I figured if you have 10 people, I can consider that a party. In some sense. And then
so it's not really the game, the mechanics of the game itself. It's how many people the game can facilitate.
I have 2 classifications.
That's where I go in.
Would be straight numbers. It can incorporate a lot. It's a party game. I think another thing would be its simplicity and the quick setup.
So it's not even necessarily a quick setup. or a quick teardown. It's how quickly can people be brought in, right? Because if you bring a game, even if it's fun, if it's meant to have 8 players,
yeah.
but no one wants to sit through the rules to learn how to play it, I just find, especially if there's any sort of intoxicants at the party, no one's gonna want to play. And so it's always hard for me to gauge because like I would have a little backpack I would carry with me to parties, you know.
I remember this backpack.
Yeah, it's Saltar, and I sewed it up recently. So, but it would have simple games like Exploding Kittens, stuff like that, where you just kind of like drop it down. People across the party might go,
what's that? Yeah, it's like, wait.
And it's just you can bring them in, or you can say, okay, just watch a round, and you can come in next round. And so they're quick, they're easy access, and there's not a lot of moving pieces. You know, like when it's just cards. Oh no, you lost a card. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I wager most party games are heavily card based.
Yeah.
You used to bring this bag all the time to game nights, like right before, like if we were playing like Magic that night or D&D, you'd have the game bag and we'd use that as like the warm up intro into whatever we were doing for the night, or like the outro, right? So like if we were doing D&D, we'd play something like quick, you know, get everybody chill, and then if we were playing Magic, it's like, okay, let's wind down and play something a little simpler.
Yeah, party games I would say definitely would have to be quick. Yeah, that's usually my go-to. A party game I recently played that I really love, Happy Salmon.
I've seen it on the store shelves before.
I'd imagine it would be hilarious with intoxicated fellows. But you pretty much get cards with actions like high five, fist bump, stuff like that. And you have a deck, and you just draw from the top, and you have to find someone with a matching card and do the action. So it's running around screaming, who has high five?
And high-fiving them.
Drawing the next card. Who has fist bomb? And you're running around to find someone.
I see. So everyone's like swimming past each other.
Yeah, very family-friendly, very kid-friendly, quick
it's
to learn,
interactive.
Play. Yeah,
great
party game. Not just like sitting there types like Social Deception, all those card games. You're actually getting up and moving. And
I like that. It's like an icebreaker game.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, where it's like you're interacting with people, and you may not be in the traditional icebreaker talking to each other, but by interaction, it helps break like, oh, yeah, we played a game before.
Yeah.
So,
and in that, you also don't have to really know them. You're not going to be like shy, like, go fish. I don't remember their name. I don't know if I want to ask them if they have something.
It's like, just, you there, do you have, and it's like, I don't know your name. I need a high five. Do you have a high five?
Screaming, high five to someone.
I don't know. And then as I got older into my board game collection, because I have a big shelf now.
Yeah.
Eventually you do. I just got more and more like, I don't know how to describe it. Bigger boxed games.
Yep.
And it just takes up so much room sometimes. And they're fun, but it's like hard to bring like 5 of them to a board game night. Like I had to pick like, okay, when I make my duffel bag, I go, okay, well, I gotta have some of this. Gotta have one of those.
Yeah, because it's like we do the Fallout game. It's like, okay, we're just doing Fallout tonight.
Yeah, and that's rough. So I dabbled into a lot more shorter games. Like there's one, Heroescape, I believe is what it's called. Small package, easy to bring, easy to set up. For the most part, it's kind of got symbols that help you just, okay, everyone match the symbols, put them on their decks.
The drafting?
Yes, so drafting, for people that are unaware, may have never heard that term before, you're going to get a hand of cards. You're going to pick your favorite from that hand of cards, set it into your deck, and then you're going to pass the whole hand to the person to your left or right, typically left. And that next player is going to pick from that hand you handed them their own card. And so the hands are just going to cycle between players. Super fun and easy to bring along. So it's like it's hard to gauge because like some of my favorite games aren't my big games. You know, I have like Terra Mystica. Well, that's a 4-hour game.
Yeah.
And it's a huge box. But then we play something like the Minecraft board game, and that one takes like 40 minutes or less.
Oh, it's so fun.
And it's so fun. It's so fun. And it's a much smaller box.
Yeah, it's like, because there's the Minecraft board game. There's another one you had that we played. Oh, the Dungeon Mayhem one. I loved that one.
Oh yeah,
that one was really fun. I love that one.
That's a D&D property.
Yep.
Board game or a card game. Has preset characters, and what you're gonna do is you pick a character deck, shuffle it, and you just play whatever cards are in it. You don't have to know what those cards are. It does a very good job,
right?
Just saying follow the symbols. It has
it has a contained balance.
To it. Each character does something different, but no one's necessarily stronger than others. I'd say in a smaller group, certain like high damage characters will obviously win because the goal of the game is to get someone to 0 life points. So when you're only having to attack that person, it makes it a little unbalanced in that way. But
Right.
it's made to be played with 4 or more players, so it's a little easier that way.
Yeah. See, I fall more in the. I like strategy games a lot, but I don't want them so crunchy. That it's just like, okay, we're here.
What's your definition of a crunch?
So a crunchy game. Okay. A good example. So I can't remember the name of the game, but there was a train game.
Ticket to Ride?
Think Ticket to Ride. I love Ticket to Ride because it's that right amounts of like rules, but still like you can teach people fairly quickly. A friend of mine, because they have a bunch of like old school board games, and the idea of this is you're in England, and it's like a gridded thing, and you get a grease pencil, like a mark crayon, and you have cash, and you have to buy your tracks. You can't, you have to lay out your track however you want, and you have to be running things. And there's so many parts to make it realistic. It just gets,
But it's got so many rules.
but it's got so many rules. You get to the point you're like, okay, well, I've been here for like 3 hours, and I've made $40 because I hauled 1 dill of cotton.
Yeah.
And so it gets to the point that it's unfun, right? Trying to be realistic.
It can be like that in the XCOM board game, for instance, or the Fallout. Or maybe the Fallout board
I
game
think
is a little
Fallout's
better.
a great example of that. It's like
Fallout, the board game, is a RPG of sorts where you're navigating a tile-based map and you're revealing and exploring, and then you're going to do quests among the way. But it has an intricate quest system of representation you have with other clans.
yeah, like who you're like working with, or
Yeah,
like whose side you're on.
It's a bit of a deduction game because you're going to have a hidden agenda.
Yep.
And it's going to have a blue team and a red team, and you're going to be one of those two teams. And every quest you do is going to benefit one and hinder the other.
Yep.
But where it comes into problems is the rule book isn't structured very well, and it didn't go into detail when certain interactions happen.
Oh, I know there's.
If you have a judge question in Magic the Gathering, let's say, you could typically find a ruling that will detail how those work. In the Fallout
Somewhere
board
on the
game,
internet or Reddit.
yes, in the
Or-
Fallout board game,
yeah.
because one, it's not super popular. It's still just a board game at base, and so while board games are on the up and up, it's still not like the hobby of the year.
Right, so you're not having as many people like, well, how does this resolve? Like you do in Magic. I know all the time I see that in Magic. I can go like, I have a question on how these cards interact. I can go find, if not those specific cards, something close enough. I'm like, okay, well, I can work from there. I understand how these work.
But the Fallout board game has a lot of rules and just does not explain those interactions well. So it's like a rule by itself. Okay, I can kind of see that. Most of the time it makes sense. But whenever a rule tramples another rule, there's nothing to guide you. You kind of have to just wing it a lot of times. And as we play, we find more probable solutions to stuff. But
Yeah.
And
can't
also
be.
more problems.
It takes, every time we play, it takes both of us like setting it up just to get it ready to play, right? Like I know it's taking you and I, getting all the cards set in the right place.
So that's what crunchy is for you.
Yeah, that's what's crunchy is for me. Yeah, it's like
Is it like abrasive or?
it just there's too much going on for the sake of trying to seem like sophisticated or complicated. It's like trying to seem like nuanced. I guess it's like I want all these things because I want to accurately represent this. Like, okay, I get what you're going for, and that's a great idea, but bring it back because this is still a game and people have to enjoy it.
Right.
No, my definition of crunchy in a game. The pieces are.
It's like, is the piece
They're
edible?
crunchable.
Do you want to explain your detail on how you would judge a game?
On the edibleness looking factor of it is a prime candidate for how I judge and purchase games. Games like Wingspan, the little wooden eggs.
The eggs.
They look just like those Easter
Yeah.
hard like M&M coated type eggs.
See, I can't have chocolate, so for me, those are like the
Yeah.
bubblegum eggs.
Yeah, but they look just like it. They're pastel colors. They're smooth. They're light.
They're the right like weight even.
Yeah, I'm like, I
size.
could
Yeah.
eat this. This is a great game. If it's got like non-edible pieces, I'm like, it's lower on the list.
For me, it's King of Tokyo, the little
like,
green,
jelly cubes that-
because they're your energy cubes, but I'm like, those look like jelly candies.
Terraforming Mars, all the little squares,
Yep.
different colored squares. I can see that.
Any game with marbles. Marbles are just fun.
See, I don't play a lot of games with like edible pieces, so I like
none of them
King
are
of
edible.
I should say, yeah, edible.
Like, I don't know. Those are the pieces I've tried.
Edible. I don't know. Space Marines don't taste that great.
My magic cards cost too much for me to try to eat them.
One of those, man, this is like a steak dinner.
This could have been 4 tombstone pizzas.
Oh, don't remind me, because I was looking at Commander decks the other day. I'm like, oh, that's cost that much now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. I would say, if I had to say a game that I've been enjoying the most lately, I've pulled out quite a few, actually, because I've been able to attend a few board game meetings.
For reference, we're all kind of in a board game club at our university.
Right.
That's
time.
what that is referencing.
But I just genuinely like that Minecraft board game that I mentioned briefly earlier. It is just so fun. And while it's like what is considered a childish IP, a lot of people consider Minecraft to be a kids game. And kids play it for sure. I think it's got a lot of great things about it. It's a great way to express yourself in the game. But when it comes to the board game, I think they just did such a good job encapsulating the feel of a Minecraft experience.
Yeah.
While also providing a varied gameplay. Because there's several different ways to win. In the base game, basically you're going to combat. So like you're going to flip cards, and if it's a monster, you can defeat it for victory points. Which is experience points in Minecraft board game to signify its experience in the game. Or you can play the rounds where you are building structures, and based off of what round you are in, A, B, C, you're going to get points based off of what structures you have of that material or structure type. So like if you're building a art piece made of wood, in a housing structure. Like that's going to have different points each round based on what it is and how they connect. So you can play to just build. You can play to just fight. And you can do a mixture of the both and see who wins. And you don't directly interact with each other, which I think is a big thing about games I've been liking lately, is games where you aren't innately attacking each other.
So you don't have as many
but you each have your own track.
Right, Wingspan is a great example of that. Like
it's more of a oh, you bought the thing I was needing. Oh well, I just divert. Right, not you had actively attacked me and ruined my chance to win. It's negate some of that feels bad moments. Yeah,
I think that's a big part of it is the feels bad, but it's also like it's more fun.
You kind of just focus on your own stuff.
You do your own thing. Yeah.
Like Wingspan, like I said, is a great example of that as well, because in Wingspan you're just going to develop your
engine.
I want to say nursery, but it's not a nursery. Well, like the idea of the game being like your enclosure,
preserve. Maybe
preserve. That's
is it preserve?
A great way to say that.
Yeah, because it's like you're like a bird preserve. Yeah.
So you just build up yourself. You're not directly hurting each other, but you're still being competitive, and you still want to be the person that wins.
Right.
There's like enough there that you're still playing a game. You're not just slapping each other on the back and saying "Wahoo!" You're having a great time still. You're competitive, but you're not causing frustration at the table. Those have been the games I've been liking a lot lately. I can't explain why. Just stuff I've been playing.
So what's funny is the game I've been enjoying a lot lately is actively PvP. I've been playing King of Tokyo because I played that with I got it out with my mom and my sister again.
Big dice.
It's so much fun because it's a thing of like what I like about it is it's that nice thing of because of all the expansions, you can adjust those dials to whatever you want. Like you can play just the base game, you can add evolutions, costumes, whatever. This is how much complexity I want in the game today. My favorite mode, the favorite way I like to play is with the evolution expansion and the costume expansion, and that's pretty much it. The game lasts 30 maybe 25, 30 minutes. And, 3 people, it's fine. 4 people, it's great. You get to the full 6, it's a lot of fun.
I don't think I've got to experience it with the full 6.
Oh, it's really good. Like,
it's chaotic.
Ooh, it is.
When those in Tokyo team up against everyone.
Yeah, because the thing is...
Because you get both.
Yeah, because in a 5 to 6 player game, you get 2 spots in Tokyo instead of the 1.
Okay.
And another thing is, I really love, old kaiju movies, Godzilla, Mothra, all those. So it hits that nice little spot for me. This is something I already enjoy.
And there's still the RNG of dice.
Yeah,
Like, you can't necessarily be good at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I was playing and I got the clown costume. And clown costume says if you get one of each dice, you can just change them to whatever result you want.
Jamie played that so
He-
well
he-
that one time.
The fact that Jamie and Perry are RNG gods, and I hate playing against them because of that. Like, you want the best thing to happen for them. They're like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna let it. It just happens, you know.
Right.
But like my first roll of the game, I actually got the clown, so I just went, cool. I'm gonna get like. I think I did 3 hearts so I could evolve right off the get-go. And I got 3 points. No, I did 3 claws because somebody was already in Tokyo. I was the last to go.
Which is damage.
Yep, so I got 3 claws and just got them to get out of Tokyo really quick. Because it was my mom. She's playing Mantis, and her favorite thing to do with Mantis is get camouflage, which can negate damage.
I see.
So for each damage she would take, she rolls a die, and if she gets a heart, she negates it. She negates 2 damage.
That's pretty strong.
It's stupid. It's her favorite thing. So and then depending, she'll also run like Princess as the costume she really likes to get because it gives her 4 rolls instead of the normal
I don't
3.
think I've got to play with the costumes expansion.
Next time we bring it,
Maybe we'll have like a Halloween.
Yeah.
Thematic
Oh, it's
costume.
like I said, it's so much fun.
I believe you had already said what you were playing, right?
No, I was talking about yummy games. So.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, I love Clue, but currently the game that I'm loving is Betrayal of House on the Hill.
Ooh, so third edition or second edition? Important question.
Second edition.
Second edition still?
is the superior edition.
Do you think that third edition will ever come around?
Personally, no.
After I have to agree. After playing the third, I'm like, oh, it's just too different.
They try to fix so many problems that weren't problems.
Yep.
In my opinion. But it starts off as a co-op. You're flipping tiles to explore a haunted house.
Yep.
My favorite part.
And then at some point,
You and Perry, I swear to God.
God. And bad guys come out.
Yep.
It can be everyone versus everyone free for all. It can be secret trader. You don't know who to trust. It can be an open trader.
Yep.
Just monsters. It can be like players versus the game with a countdown on the house.
Yeah.
Tons of different modes, tons of replayability. There's an expansion for each one, exclusive to each edition. You cannot play them differently because they changed the art on the cards to force.
Yeah,
because
because the back. Yeah,
I see.
because I wanted to get Widow. Is it Widow's Walk?
I have Widow's Peak.
From the second, because I had the second edition, and it never, like, our game store never had it, or it did, and I was like, well, I can't justify that purchase right now because one of the haunt scenarios is just Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I'm like, I've never seen that show, but I love how wackadoodle I was like, that's insane. Y'all got that concept into a board game.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Perry and Ryan, anytime we play that game, we're like, cool, we're gonna just zoom as far as they can.
My favorite is to pick a small child who has high agility.
Yep, the speed.
Sprint
And
down hallways.
just blind dash down a hallway.
See, that's because that's how Perry will only play Peter Akamoto. He doesn't care what he only plays Peter Akamoto, and he does the same thing.
I don't know. There's just something that's so fun about being like, I discovered every tile.
tile.
And everyone always is like, I don't have a big enough table. I'm like, well, then we shouldn't have played this game because I wanted to. If I bought the whole game, I'm gonna play the whole game.
That's
You gotta use every tile.
yeah.
part of the experience of
every game.
part of the experience of a haunted house is moving the tiles to try and fit new ones in.
As we have one hallway that's just going down this straight line. for
It's
no
not my
reason.
fault that we had a long table, and that was the most optimal way to do that.
Yeah, and there are actually like reskinned thematic versions of it. I discovered recently.
Yeah, you were telling
there's,
me about this.
A Scooby Doo one.
Yeah,
believe.
I just bought it.
There's
I saw it and I was like, I'm getting it.
There's a D&D one that's like supposed to be like
Betrayal at Boulder's Gate.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Baldur's Gate.
But so I don't want to go into D&D too much, but like, why is it always Baldur's Gate?
That's one of the most iconic.
It's because part of the thing is like it has the video games tied to it. Is it Ravenloft? I thought it was Faerun, the Forgotten Realms.
Ravenloft is just the other well-known.
Oh, okay.
knows of.
Yeah, so it's
Strahd was big.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's heard of Ravenloft.
right. So it's part of the Forgotten Realms. And it's like the iconic location, like probably
And
besides.
is this like so this
Waterdeep?
is a canon story? Like this happened?
I think there's a campaign at Boulder's Gate.
Yeah, so
A book they
it's
published.
so Baldur's Gate. So like a lot of it ties into these are things that are happening at Baldur's Gate. Well, your PCs were there or whatever.
And I think it was one of the earlier books, so everyone just kind of ran with that.
That's my thing. It's like I'm fairly certain it's super old.
Yeah.
I'm like, they have not made anything better. Like it's just everything is Baldur's Gate.
Well, they either redo Curse of Strahd every like 4 years. You know, they love Curse of Strahd. It's like, oh, it's vampires. Yeah, we'll just do that again. Ravenloft. Dragonlance. They finally revisited Eberron like a few years back, and which is supposed to be like magic punk. It has like Warforged. It has guns. What's it called? They have like a
Guns.
yeah, it's got guns, magic guns. There's a
magic guns.
there's a paladin who is basically a Wild West gunslinger.
Interesting. Like I said, I don't want to go too into the weeds on that. I was just curious. It's just something that piqued my interest. It's just always because I played D&D. I've hosted D&D campaigns myself as a DM.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know why it was always Baldur's Gate. I don't get the hubbub.
I don't ask questions. I just look for the D&D.
Which is funny because like when I first started playing D, I just did a homebrew off the bat. I'm like, I'm not messing with that. I want to do whatever I want.
Man, my favorite. Okay, I know. I just said the words I don't want to get into this. But what was your favorite D&D character?
Ooh, my favorite D&D character.
Because we've all played it.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, I'm gonna go with a current character that's in a campaign that's ending here pretty soon. Remus. He's a tiefling rogue. Pretty basic.
Right.
But we're playing with a lot of homebrew, so he's also got the Spectre Grim Hollow transformation.
Oh,
He's
okay.
got,
Yeah.
One of the boons from Nyx that has to do with being a ghost.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, it came out.
Piety with the gods, so I'm a champion for the god mask, god of thieves.
Ooh, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
pretty insane. And I died, and I had a clone in a jar and came back.
Okay.
Pretty crazy. So I'm just kind of like an immortal ghost, chilling.
What about you, Brandon?
Okay, I'm DMing so often. I have like 5 characters I get to pick from
Ever.
like from the entire time I played
In the
D.
last like
And one of them was
15
a
years.
one shot.
One of them was a one shot. Yeah. So if I had to pick, it's probably. It's really hard because it's either there's a mushroom man I played recently in a one shot because I was like I wanted to play a mushroom little dude.
Mushroom.
No, okay, it has to be. So he's a cleric. His name was Kip Doolahand, and I went for
I've heard
like
of this man.
yeah. So what I did for the character was just Irish. He's Irish. He's like think Irish priest. Accent because I can do that Irish accent pretty okay.
He's like, trust me, I can do it.
I'm not going to do it for you now.
I'm
listen.
not in character.
Listen, my family is Irish. We get to make those. But so the idea is like I really he's a very pious person, and his whole like backstory is like he grew up rough. Member of the church found him, and he went, "Oh, I like this. I can help other people, and put like my skills to use." Yeah. And so it just, generally like upbeat guy. Somebody trying, always like against drinking. And he's like, no, he's like, live your life. He's like, but if you need help, I can help.
Mine isn't as complex in the slightest. It was a custom campaign, so it wasn't following any book or anything, just a homebrew. And I got to play a character that was a slime folk, which their abilities, it's like from 3rd edition, I want to say. Someone's going to correct me on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. It's D&D. Of course they will.
It was a slime folk, and the way they work is your health points are your abilities.
Right.
The more mass I consume, the more health points max I have. But theoretically, I didn't have a max per se. It was just that's how many hit points I had. So long as I always had at least 1 hit point, I live, and I can split myself up into multiple
things
beings of me. But every time, so say I go to cast a fireball, right, as that character, I would have full strength if I'm not split. If I split into 2 characters to be able to shoot 2 fireballs, they will be at half damage, so on and so forth for all the rest of the math.
So by the time I got reincarnated, it's slime.
Yes, something like that. I believe that's an anime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fairly popular anime.
But it was my favorite because the DM allowed me to play it, but I couldn't get the telepathy until level 8. And so she gave me weak telepathy, which was a custom brew where I was only allowed to say 3 words in any given sentence to talk to people. And I couldn't string multiple sentences together.
So she gave you like message almost as like a quick I think message is 10 words. So you had like a nerfed version of message. See, you've talked about this character before, and it made me go, man, slime folk would be really cool to add to my campaign setting.
They're just so fun because
Like-
like one of the so if I were to talk, it'd be like, me need food.
Yeah,
Attack that guy.
he'd get along.
He is bad. Like
He'd get along with Thresh, who was like
Yes,
our
Thresh.
party mascot from my campaign. He was just this random bug guy they found in the middle of the desert, and they're like, well, maybe he's seen the bad guy. They bribed him with food. And it's like, okay, now he's gone. He's just going to leave. Like, we'll give you more food if you come with us. And the bugman went, yeah, sure. But, low intelligence, but they found out he could, like, because he had telepathy, so he could talk to people in their head. They tried to use him as a translator once.
how'd that work?
Oh, it went terrible because he's stupid. He was not very bright. So they're, like, trying to give him these very like, Thresh, we need you to tell them this. And Thresh go, Thresh got it. Thresh not understand what you say. It also led to one of my favorite scenes in the campaign at the end. Is so to give some context, Perry had made a sandwich and he goes, how much is a sandwich heal for? I'm like maybe a point, like a D4. I'll give you a D4. He's like, okay, before the big boss fight, I'm making 50 sandwiches. And he's like, Thresh will help me. I'm like, sure. So he gave Thresh a bag full of sandwiches. And that's what he went into battle with, besides normal weapons. They fight the Lich. They get knocked out. Thresh had gone down. They'd healed him back up. And everybody's doing the cleanup, and Thresh is eating a sandwich. And Jamie's character, who had gone down to his paladin, goes, how you doing, Thresh? And he goes, Thresh got hurted, and hands Jamie's character a sandwich, and Jamie's character goes, me too, buddy. Me too. And sits down and eats a sandwich with him.
I was in there too.
Yeah.
On the other line.
Yeah, you guys like had just finished the fight. You're all just beat to hell and back. But
Me too, Thresh.
I love that. Me too, buddy. Me too. It's such a good
so
ending.
I don't play the characters very seriously, and this will be the last thing I say on the topic. Just because like I find it really fun. So like that slime folk ate bottles. That was like its thing. It loved eating glass, and there's no in-game reason to be doing that. There's no advantage to that. There was no like
Just
passive
fun
skill.
role playing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, I will, because the first thing I ate in front of them was a bottle they threw on the floor,
So you just kind of stuck with that.
and I stuck with that, and I think that's fun. It's part of the role play aspect, and it kind of like it gave people an expectation of what my character did. Right? I'm
Right.
not just out of blue, Mary Sue, best thing in the world. I was kind of just following along, and then someone would do something like a giant we fought dropped a rock on my head because he hit the ceiling. And so then I dropped a bigger rock on his head, and I was like, no, I don't like that. But anyway, what other parts of your collection do you think are odd or maybe other people won't have?
I have a slight obsession with co-op board games.
So multiplayer, like co-op, or like
Yes.
two-player?
Multiplayer. There are a lot of two-player co-op, but I like a big group. You can have like 5-6 people, four to 6 people sit down and play against the game.
Right. So it's you versus the board game, not each other. Right.
Yeah. The Forbidden series.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Forbidden series.
Right.
Great with that. Totally blanking on other ones right now, but
King of Tokyo, the King of Line has King of Monster Island, which
Yes,
is like that.
I just got that as
It's
well.
very good. Yet again, great thing of the monsters can be used in any of the games.
The Alien board game. You're on a ship
Oh.
and you roll, and the alien will move.
Like the
things.
Colonial Marines kind
Yep,
of alien?
Oh,
Pandemic.
that's fun.
Oh,
Okay.
Pandemic is so fun.
Yeah, I just like, because I mean I'm fairly competitive. I don't want to say I win, but I win a lot of games, especially playing against people who don't play a lot of games. I
Right.
know more.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to have a co-op game you can play where you all kind of win together and no one feels left out, defeated, or anything like that.
Yeah, that's why I was not allowed to coach my mom. And we used to play big player games of Magic, right?
I bumped your.
And she'd always borrow
Sharon Elbows here.
my green devotion list.
Okay, yeah.
And everybody got mad. I'm like, okay, mom, here's how you, because I'd get knocked down. I'm like, okay, mom, I'm gonna teach, like, okay, Brandon, you're not allowed to.
Coach her.
Yeah, coach her because she doesn't play as much Magic, but she loved that list because it was big dumb green stompy things, and it was like, okay, Brandon's not allowed to do that anymore, so we play like Arch Enemy instead, right? So it's like, okay, well, you guys versus me.
The weirdest thing in my collection, it's got to be some of the Unos I found, like that '60s Uno.
Right.
I have Uno Jenga.
Yeah,
I like that one a
Oh
lot.
yeah, I've seen that at your house. Yeah.
It's on the shelf. I don't get to play it often, but the way it works is it's going to function with the same rule set as Uno, but rather than cards, you're going to have a Jenga tower.
And you pull bats.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like if the previous person pulled yellow 2, right?
You got to pull a 2 or a yellow from the tower.
Exactly. And there are wilds, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And same idea. And it's just because it's meant to be like a 2-player game. I think that's what makes it so hard to play. Is that typically if I have people over, it's going to be more than a person.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to get a 2-player game out, slap it on the table, and say, "Let's all have fun."
Yeah.
I mean, you could possibly play that one more, but it would just be over so quick.
I think it max at 4.
Well, it'd be hard to determine who a winner is, right? Because like if the loser is who knocks over the tower, would you have to set the tower up multiple times?
I thought for Jenga, if you knock it over, you can't win. But then whoever shows Jenga first wins.
That I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I just go.
I play giant
Listen,
Jenga.
I would usually
Giant
just go.
Jenga,
I just like, oh no.
Whoever knocks it over can't win.
I
And
see.
then whoever of their main people shouts Jenga first is the winner.
Oh, so it's
Okay.
like, oh, so I wonder if it's like whoever knocks it over, and then somebody has to shout Uno kind of thing. Probably. We have to actually. You know what? This has been one of those
Yeah,
times.
I don't know where the
shout
Uno.
Juno.
Juno. Yeah.
I don't know where the Uno part comes in. I'm gonna be real with you. Like,
Maybe it's
got
one of
the
those-
Uno rule set, but I don't know what the word Uno is played in.
It's
it
one of
at
those
all.
things probably
It didn't
reading-
have its manual.
Reading the rules would have probably explained it, but we like, no, we got this.
Well, I didn't have the rules. I was second.
Oh, that's right.
Glory is the internet, though. Have you ever looked it up?
So
Okay, I want to say this is a very niche, not popular print of Uno.
so
But I love like there's a minimalistic Uno that's out right now.
Uno.
oh yeah.
Oh,
What is,
I
the
love
new,
those
what is
things.
that new Uno with the +10s everywhere?
Oh, the Hate Your Friends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that's what it's officially called.
That's what everyone calls it.
But
Yeah.
Uno, I would argue, probably Uno and Monopoly, probably the 2 most reprinted games. I would
Monopoly, easy.
Yeah.
They like there was a time right before the C-19 virus
Mhm.
where you 3 or so different brand names
Yeah.
were stapled onto Monopoly.
There's a Monopoly for every like state, every city, every national park.
I mean, if our city here can get a
Monopoly, yeah.
any city can get a Monopoly.
But there's Unos for national parks. There's Unos for
I didn't know that.
every fandom.
See,
like
I've
there's
seen like
Justice League
themed
Uno,
Uno.
BTS Uno, Jurassic Park Uno.
Yeah. There's an
and
Uno for you.
Yeah, in addition to alternate art styles. And I'd argue Uno's probably a lot more played than Monopoly, which is why I think it's reprinted
It's like, wait,
more.
Uno's made by Mattel, right? It's like Mattel, I will sell that. You know, Uno. There's an Uno for
I
you.
pulled it up. It's Uno No Mercy.
Okay.
So pretty close to not liking your
I like
friends.
Uno, no more friends.
Friends, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested in that.
Yes.
So you know what stinks is I don't have as many board games. I don't like my collection's much smaller. It's much like something I enjoyed a lot and I can teach. You know, like I can because I play board games usually with Ryan or you guys at the because he introduced me to like the bigger stuff and then or at the board game club. So I don't really have anything like odd in my collection that I can think of like.
There's a letter Uno. I'm finding all kinds of Unos now. I'm on my phone. I shouldn't.
It's like so yeah, I don't have anything like weird.
I mean, kind of going off that to wrap up, I think that is the great thing about board games is not everyone needs it. Like, I can have a copy.
No,
and
everyone
bring it.
needs an Uno.
Well, okay, I think it comes on Xbox. Everyone has Uno.
Is Xbox even using it? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, like,
No, we're not doing this joke.
if I have the game, everyone can come play.
Play
If
it,
someone
yep.
wants to borrow it, it's so easy. You just like pass around, and then you can always get a copy if you like it. But
Yeah, that's how that Dungeon Mayhem I'm probably going to pick up because I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it.
It's probably cheaper. Well, I guess it depends on if it's still in print.
I really want all the expansions, so I know I'm going to, I want to be spending
yeah,
a bit.
You're gonna do a whole investment.
Yeah, it's like, oh no.
It can be that way, but it also sometimes websites will sell them like as a package deal,
So you can get it.
so it's not too bad. Anyway, Logan, as you were,
But yeah, I mean, I think that's the great thing about board games.
it's a club, right? The organization that I founded a long time ago, that club, it was all about just if you have a game, sit down, share it, with
Play it.
people.
Because like I have games. I have a lot of games. I don't play all of them. Don't have time
Yeah.
to play all of them. Don't have friends to play. I have friends, but I don't. Everyone's not
Right.
always there.
Yeah.
You don't
to
have friends
play
living
them.
in your house to play board games at all
Yes.
times.
So it's just nice to have a place to be able to bring it and play with everyone.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this one I don't get to bust out a whole lot. Y'all guys want to set with me?
Yeah. So I mean, that looks like it's about time to wrap up this episode. So thank you everyone for listening, and be sure to catch our next episode. We're going to be talking about starting and building your board game collection on a budget, because this is a very expensive hobby, but it's great to get into.